My guest today is a force to be reckoned with. She is sharp, soulful, and unapologetically real. Known for her no BS take on wellness, her signature sass is rooted in the grit of her Detroit upbringing. Her path to holistic healing has been anything but linear. As a chiropractor, she weaves together functional medicine, energy work, and the deeper emotional imprints that manifest in the body. She doesn't just treat symptoms. She helps people reconnect to the wisdom within. Guided by spirit, science, and an unshakable dedication to well-being, she moves fluidly between student and teacher, constantly expanding her toolkit to help others find balance, relief, and true transformation. In this episode, we dive into her personal and fascinating journey, her knowing as an intuitive healer, and the untamed magic of being a woman. Enjoy the episode. Hello, listeners. Thanks for joining another episode of the Skin I'm In podcast. I'm your host, Chanel, and this is a place where women can tune in to gain peace through clarity, purpose through inspiration, and the permission to be themselves through the stories of other women. If you're enjoying these episodes so far, click the like, share, and subscribe button so that more women like you can be positively impacted by the stories in this podcast. It is so great to have you on the show, Dr. Rimka. Welcome to the Skin I'm In podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. We finally did it.
I know. And I mean, look, outside of your infectious energy, one of my absolute favorite things about you is your no BS approach to wellness. And that's how I came across you, actually. I had no idea that you were a chiropractor. I just loved your content on health, your perspective on Botox, your opinions on drinking culture and the damaging effects, and of course, your stance on vaccines. That was a really important part of what drew me to you as well. What you talk about is so disruptive to mainstream narratives. So I can imagine you'd have quite a bit of backlash. How do you handle that?
Okay. Well, it's gone in phases. Let me say that.
Yeah.
So how I handle it today is not maybe how I handled it 10 years ago. So, I've been doing the social media thing like 10 years now, I think. We probably could pick up and find out when I first picked up the phone and did a Facebook Live. That's when it was, I've only been on Instagram, like really doing something about 4 or 5 years. It was primarily Facebook. So when I first started, when it first happens, and I'll say it for people who are starting, listen, it's okay. It hurts. It's weird. It's hard. It's hard to have, like, don't compare yourself to somebody who's been doing it. Don't compare yourself to Gary V. You can't just suddenly not care and have this thick rhinoceros or armadillo armor or whatever. That's not reality. I'd be pretending I didn't cry before. I wasn't stunned at some of the things I said. I've had to shut down comments before reviews because what'll happen, there'll be like this mounted focused attack at times. And you're like, what is going on? And I've had like a vegan cattle ranch war before happen on a post. And it was horrifying what was being said. So how, sometimes I learned, some of it was just on personal development of like, here's the thing. When it comes to social media, attention is attention. All attention is good attention. I really do need to understand that, like all press is good press, and they're just helping my algorithm. They're helping me get attention. There's always a line of, you have the ability to block, and you need to pull the trigger sometimes. So like, yeah, we're done with that. So, and I used to think that was so mean. But when somebody feels that they can send me private messages offering to rape me and beat me, kill my child, I mean, this would happen all the time. Like, because I'm a carnivore, I'm worth being murdered. I'm not kidding. It would happen. The vegans would say these things to me. I've had thousands of those messages. Like, wow, you guys are really...
I'm shaking. Who says that?
Horrifying. And I'm telling you, I had about 300 cattle ranchers, literally the American Canadian cattle ranchers, came in to defend and protect me. Men came in I don't even know who they were. It was unbelievable. And the private messages I got, and then a doctor friend, Ken Berry, he said, you need to shut it, block all of it right now. Because I've never had that happen to me. I'm so sorry, but shut it down. Unfortunately, I had to like stop allowing Facebook reviews and Google things like that, because it's shocking that somebody who never has called your office, nobody who's ever seen, could give my practice, my brick and mortar, a review because I said Beyond Meat is stupid. you know,
Yeah.
like I don't even know how that's fair. Like I don't know how can you review a dentist or an attorney if you've never used them? But this is what's allowed in the interwebs because of Yelp now or whatever. So there's that. And I will just say, like, it takes a little bit of this. I get a lot of my spiritual guidance from Cat Williams. He's an American Black hermit.
Love Cat Williams.
Yes.
Yep.
So the Pimp Chronicles has been deep
Yep.
inside my heart for a very long time. And, I just let a hater do what a hater's supposed to do. I let a hater do their job and they hate. He really helped me. I'm like, listen, I'm looking to collect more haters. You want to hate somebody? Go ahead and hate me. So I really started flipping it and making it feel good. I'm like, oh, aren't you cute? Y'all think about me that much? Am I in your head that are you dreaming about me to the point you sent me these messages? So now I just come back and I play with them sometimes. And if they cross a line of violence to anybody in my comments, to somebody else or me, we're done. So we do have block. But about a year ago, it was a little bit sooner. So about 5 years ago, I had two guys on staff. They were JM and Calvin, did an incredible job of protecting me on social media. So they would come in and do stuff. I was always posting and commenting, but they were in there protecting, and they were deleting and banning and blocking, because I remember I made one comment once. I was like, all these women post about getting dick pics. I've never gotten a dick pic. They're like, oh yes, you have. You just don't see any of it. I was like, for real? They're like, oh, Dr. Rimka. They never called
That's so cute.
Dr. Rimka. Yes, you do. We just handle that for you. And you have a couple creepy stalkers we look out for, but you don't need to know about that. Oh, okay, boys, thank you so much. So now I do have staff, like I have other people. I don't really read the comments anymore,
Yeah. And
you know,
that's
and I
probably
bring,
really healthy.
I mean, there are moments people send me things and I'm like, am I supposed to open it? Like the Botox stuff is very viral and you're there again all over TikTok. I'm like, are they calling me a moron, or is it good or bad? Like, I don't want to see it actually, So it's not easy. I'm going to say that to people, but you have to increase. I'm more concerned with helping people than if people like me. Most people like me, but I care more if I help you. If I'm helping these people and these people don't like me, that's not my problem, because I'm
Yeah.
helping these people. So there is a price to pay for sure. And I coach people. I've coached thousands of business owners on how to do social media, and they all think they want. I said, listen, there is a price to pay for that. You better be ready for it. You better increase your sense of self. You better know who you are. You better dive into your authentic self driven by your soul, because shit will come and you better not shake. I said, so, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be ready for it. And I've gotten stronger with it over the years as I've embodied my soul and my authentic self deeper and deeper and deeper. It doesn't bother. I know something's wrong with that person, so my job is to just create boundaries and safety of my people and myself away from them. And I have put restraining orders on a few of them before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you said something to me the last time we caught up. You said your soul is congruent with who you are in the world. And that has just sat with me since then. And I would love to know, what does that mean for you? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know what it means to have that show up for them. So what does that mean for you, and how did you get there?
I think that's the definition of what authentic means. So people will say, I'm so authentic or whatever, like authenticity is that. I'm like, well, authenticity means you're letting the soul drive. The soul takes over. That's who is in charge of me. I'm listening to what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm driven by my highest values. My top 3 values are the things I care about the most. And that's how I prioritize my life. And I'm very congruent with that, because I know what I value. I know what I'm here to do. So I stay focused on that mission. Like, I mean, I'm like very much like this, right? So that's who I am. I don't live my mother's values. I don't live my father's values. I don't live the government's values. I don't live the social media values. I live Stephanie Rimka. This soul came into this body at this time to do what she was supposed to do. Done and done. I'm not supposed to be, Beyonce, Adele, anybody else. I'm not trying to copy someone else. I would get coached, you would be so much, people would like you so much more if you did, you would make so much more money if you just did this. Why do you have to swear? Maybe you could just, then I'm not for you. Go away. I'm not changing.
Literally.
Like, that's not my problem. I'm not here to people please. See, that's your trauma problem. That's not my problem. I have trauma problems, but it ain't people pleasing. So you know what I mean? Like, so I get it, but that's to me, here's the thing, I don't necessarily know. What I learned to do very young was listen to my body. And if there's any sign, symptom, discomfort, discord, dis-ease in the system, it is your soul talking to you to put you back on track. I knew that very young. I knew it intuitively. I listened, and my mom pointed it out once. Like when I had a rash, and she saw it. She goes, my dad, when it was the divorce and back to prison and all this chaos in the house, it was like a lot of trauma had happened, but I was like, fine, and she was like, you seem really okay. I'm like, I'm fine. Because everything was fine. I'm always fine. But then she saw these bumps all over me, and she was like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. I just got these, yeah, kind of. But I never whined or complained. I didn't want to be a problem to my mother. So she was like, oh, she kind of let me know your body when it's stressed is showing you. Now, my mother wasn't some deep holistic person, but she knew enough, the common sense. Oh shit, this is how the baby is. They called me the baby. I'm the youngest. Like, this is what you do. And that makes sense. I would get sick a lot. I would express physically. So they might get a cold and I would end up in pneumonia in the hospital. Like, it was different. So I have 3 older brothers and sisters and then me. And it could be something simple with them. And I was in the hospital, like a week for them, 3 months for me. So I had a lot of like health kind of deficits actually as a child. And I understanding then later being trained by a mentor of mine, she goes, Stephanie, that's your body's been always telling you, but you're processing other people's stuff. We have to teach you to stop doing that and then to separate self from other, because I couldn't tell the difference between my body and their body ever. I would just process people's cancer. I would just process their rapes. I would just process their, trauma, whatever it was for them, but through me transmuting it. And I was hurting myself. I was doing it since I was a little girl. I would do it for the animals. I would gather things and dead things and try to fix them, and half dead things and bury them and cry. My mom's like, why are you getting all the dead rats? I'm like, because somebody has to bury them, and they need a funeral. I was like that at 5.
Oh,
So I was always that way. So I eventually in my 20s learned to separate. And once I know thyself, I never have to make that confusion. I know what I'm feeling is not what they're feeling. So I can feel what you're feeling and never confuse it with me. And that way I have separation when I work with patients and stuff, but I can get the job done faster because I can feel it and I know exactly what it is, and we can just cut to the chase and we can just to get it done. But I won't sacrifice myself to get you better anymore. Right? Does that make sense? I think some of it is know thyself. I was guided that my body is telling me. I knew that was a good thing. She didn't make me wrong for it. It's like, oh, you don't know you're stressed out. You don't know you're you don't know how to admit you're afraid. You don't know how to admit you're hurting. So your body is showing you, is what my mom basically said to me at like 8 years old. And then that mentor therapist told me that again. I'm like, oh, right. She's like it's okay, but this is the way you're expressing it. So figure it out. So then I just really learned to listen and say that everything's happening in my highest and best interest, period. Everything is happening in my highest and best interest. And if I think of it that way, what do I do with it? Right. So I don't know. That's my, and I do try to teach people that, to try and tell the truth about what do they like? What do they care about? What do they love? What lights them up? What gives them energy? Where do they spend the most time? Where do they spend the most money? That's what you value. Stop lying and trying to pretend that you're trying to impress me by telling me you want to do this. If you want $1 million, what would you do? Oh, I want world peace and to end poverty. And I'm like, You might just want to go have outrageously orgasmic sex and buy a big house. Like, why? You don't have to say, you know what I mean? Like, or go back to school to become a musician or something. Like, some people just have these value judgments, like, oh, it's better to be a humanitarian than it is to be an artist, or it's better to be a CEO than it is to be a stay-at-home mom. They have these judgments. So then they're trying to live into other people's things, not what they really want. And that's a travesty to not be what the soul really wants to be, right?
Oh, yeah. And this is resonating so deeply because I feel that probably since I turned maybe, I think I had my conniption at 31 where it first really started to, you know, boil in my brain as something's not right and I'm living my life for everybody else.
Mm.
But then it really hit at 37. And I'm 40 now and I'm still trying to discover what that is and realizing just how much I've spent my life suppressing my intuition because it didn't fit everybody else's idea of who I should be and how I should present in this world. And so just you saying that and the fact that you've known that since you were little, I just have so much admiration for that because even though I knew it as a little person, I had to put it away because I felt like that's what I needed to protect myself in my life. And so I love that you're talking about that. And I wonder,
Yeah, that's okay. That's what you had to do to protect yourself. That's exactly. I had to do it the way I had to do it to protect myself. You understand?
yeah.
So it's okay.
Is this where your interest in the biology of trauma kind of seated for you? Because you're really interested in how that
Yeah.
represents.
I've been doing it my whole life, really.
Is
Yeah.
that what led you to chiropractic care, or is that what led you down the
So
spiritual path of the stuff that you're doing?
yeah, gosh, it's just like such a long whatever. I think I've been led down that path forever, but it was the plan was traditional medical school, and in college, in my undergrad, I got really sick basically, and broke my back in a college soccer game, and everything just kind of went downhill physically. It's kind of like fibromyalgia type living, fatigue, and gained like 40, 50 pounds, and hair falling out, couldn't think. I remember this moment. I was trying to do my chemistry homework. And I mean, I was a 4.0 student, full scholarship, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. I'm very, very smart. That's just, school is not a hard thing for me. So, and I just say that to say, because my boyfriend walked in the room, my dorm room, Matt walked in, and I remember I looked at him, I'm like, what's 5 times 5? He's like, baby, are you kidding? I'm like, I, I don't, like, what's wrong with me? I can't figure that out. He goes, baby, I said, no, I'm 100% serious. Like, nothing is working anymore. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm tired. I'm sleeping 20 hours a day. So I thought I had mono for 6 months. I just kept going to the clinic. Like, it's got it. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, what is wrong with me? So in that process of them being so bad at their jobs, never testing me for anything, being so utterly incompetent, I'm like, they're physicians. I'm like, did you graduate? Like, what is wrong with, like, I really was shocked, right? And then the ultimate, with paralysis down the leg and being in the emergency room, an orthopedic surgeon being like, you're never running again. You're never playing sports again. And if we don't get this under control, you may never walk again. And I pretty much, now I didn't swear back then in front of my mother, in front of really anybody. But the feeling in me was, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to, because that's fucking not walk again. I don't know what the fuck, get me out of here. So my response was so aggressive, like, like, what did he just say? And my mom was like, I'm like, calm down, nothing. I mean, I literally was just enraged by it. Okay. So rage was driving me a lot as a child. Rage got me through a lot of hard stuff, and was my fire, right? I don't let rage, rage started it, but love definitely has taken over. But I was like, that's an unacceptable answer. And I said, get me to Keith. And Keith was my chiropractor, and Keith had been taking care of me since 16 when I first hurt my back. My mom was going to somebody. She's like, oh yeah, my best friend, Naomi, her brother. She goes, you need to see my brother. I'm like, why? She goes, he's a chiropractor. I'm like, what is that? He's like, he'll help without your back, your stuff. I'm like, okay. So I started going after a soccer injury in high school, and he then was programming me because chiropractic has nothing to do with your back. The only reason it's there is because it holds your nervous system. The only reason we touch your back is because we're addressing the central nervous system. So he started always talking about this and innate intelligence and universal intelligence and what drugs were doing. You got to stop taking Tylenol stuff, and I'm like, oh, Keith, just pop it back in. I got a game. I would get adjusted for I was just using it like that, but he never gave up. He was planting seeds. He was talking about my divine nature and always innate intelligence and divine intelligence. The power that made the body heals the body. You don't need any drugs. You don't need this. You need to stop drinking alcohol. Whatever. So I'm like, listen and listen and listen. And then finally, he put it all back together. I came back playing basketball, soccer, the whole thing. I'm like whatever, right? Like no surgery, F you, I'm not taking drugs and nothing. Still didn't get it. Still didn't get it. Still was going to go into medical school to be an orthopedic surgeon, but I was working in a mental hospital with schizophrenics and helping them go from the schizophrenic, so in the mental hospital into group homes, right? And in that process, then I really was seeing the medical system and reading the reports and what the drugs were doing and all the side effects and all the tardive dyskinesia. I didn't have to look up what everything was. I was like, what is happening? I'm like, this is madness. This cannot be healthcare. This is what we do. We throw them away, lock them up, hope an orderly doesn't rape them. Because I read in this one, she got raped about 20 times from an orderly. That's why, what are we doing? I mean, it was horrifying. There would be places in these halls, I would go, I'm not walking down the hall. And the feeling sometimes in this psych hospital, you're like, you gotta leave. I'm like, oh my God, I hate being in that building. I mean, it was awful, the energy there. So I was getting them out into the homes in the neighborhoods, very high functioning. So in that process, I was talking to him and I was going back and getting adjusted. I would stop and go and I would be in pain and then I'd stop and then I'd hurt again and come back, hurt myself and something. And I said, fine, I said, Keith, here's the thing. I need you to explain this to me. I said, because I'm doing great, blah, 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 all the things. But here's what I've noticed. Looking back at this since I was 16, when I'm coming to you consistently, there's a complete different shift in my mental health, basically my mood, the way I see the world, how I behave, how I feel about life. Why? And then he brought the thing out and the whiteboard and closed the door. He had an office full of people. There were like 30 people. His wife came in. He's like, Keith, you're getting back. He saw 300, 500 people a week. I mean, he had 150 people a day. So he was like, and she's like, you got to hurry up. And he's like, this doesn't matter. They can wait. I mean, it was like this moment, this God moment. This is important. This is it. And I was like, what? And it was like an explosion of me finally getting it. And I just went, the schizophrenics need to be adjusted. He goes, yes. I went, oh my God. Where do I go? He goes, Atlanta. I moved 6 months later. He's like, you better be okay with you're going to be a quack. You won't get any respect. You understand that you want to be counted as a real doctor. This isn't going to be it. If you want that, if you need it for your ego, and I understand because he grew up poor in the same neighborhood as me. If you need that because you want respect from those rich people that you didn't get, you need to go ahead and get that white coat and be a surgeon. But if you want to help people the way you just understood what you have felt, you will be a chiropractor, but you better not care what they think about you. You better be ready for it because you will never be respected and you are going to be a salmon always going against the stream. Can you take that? Because that's what it takes. If you aren't ready, don't do it. And I had to pause. I'm like, well, Keith, I kind of been doing it my whole life. He's like, yes, you have. I'm like, it's on. He goes, how much money do you need, Stephanie? You're going to make a lot of money and you'll have a good quality life. So, like, you want to be able to have kids and be home too? Because it's really better for that. I was like, that's true. So that's how it happened. It was really this aha of the nervous system. So I went to school always knowing I was going to work with mental health issues, alcoholism, drug addiction, and prison because that was my family. That's all I wanted to do. So I just was like, oh, not the route I thought I would go, but then it made more, it really aligned with everything I believed anyway. Because I already didn't trust the rock. I would always complain about the Rockefellers and pharma and all. It was like, I'm like, I know, but I'll be different. I'm going to go, but I'll be different. And my inner self was a little bit like, and I was lucky, a partner at the time was like, I'm a little afraid about you becoming a surgeon. I go, why? And she was like, you're already very masculinized. You already roll with a big ego. You go into surgery, you're going to have to flex such intense masculine energy, such ego, such competence. You will have no choice. They'll devour you. And I'm so afraid you're going to lose the intuitive, psychic, empathic, feminine energy that you really are. She says, I don't think you really know who you are. So I was dating a woman my senior year in college for a while. And so she was pointing this out to me. And she was like, you're very different than people realize. The image of you and who you really are not the same. I was like, yeah, probably, yes, I get that. It's like nobody knows how sensitive you actually are, how soft you really are, how really feminine, intuitive, all those things. She's like, I said, yeah, because I keep it kind of a secret because I thought those things made me weak, made it look like you could hurt me, and I needed to be impenetrable in the world. And now I've learned and I've shifted that. So my own discomfort with femininity has gotten a very shitty deal. So we've not been fair to it at all. And me, myself included. And that was a really powerful moment for her to say, I'm afraid of the kind of person you're going to become, because they're assholes. And I could see you going in there battling with them, becoming a big one. So you win. I'm like, yeah, you got a point. You do have a point. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to only talk about the money and, compete that way. I want to help people. And the surgeons talked about it a certain way, and the chiropractors talked about it very differently. Very differently. The things they talked about were not appealing to me. The things they talked about were very appealing. And it really, looking at it now, I know it's much more feminine, and I didn't understand it at the time. So I'm very grateful. Like, my soul pulled me where it needed to go, and I never would have thought at 52 I would have just written a woman's feminine, energy book, and I'm writing a beauty course right now. Like, it's so much softness, and everything's about receiving. And I lecture and write about orgasms. I mean, if anybody would have told my 23-year-old self I would do that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm going to be working on NFL players or something. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
was going to be the chiropractor for the Raiders. Like, that's what people would have thought. Like, that's what the expectation. I'm a jock. I'm like, the guys are like, she's not even a girl. She's like one of us. That's what it was, kind of how people thought of me. And I'm like, no, not actually, not at all. I'm incredibly right brained. I'm incredibly sensitive. I'm incredibly spiritual. That just was not safe to be where I lived as a little girl. So I had to learn, I let another side of me take over to protect me until now you're safe. Now you can really go be that. And it took a little bit of like, oh, who am I? Like, well, I'm both, but like, now it's safe to go grow this part of myself. Right. Um, and it's been very nice. It's been a very wonderful journey.
There is so much I want to unpack in what you just said.
That's a
I want
lot.
to get to the masculine and feminine thing because we talked about that last time. And it's another one of those things that's been sitting with me. But I would love to know how you came across, went down all those rabbit holes before a lot of other people were talking about it mainstream. And I'm talking about all the collusion stuff, what the big pharma's doing, what the government's doing. You mentioned the Rockefellers before, because that would have been a little while ago when you were going through your training.
Well, my mother told me about the Rockefellers when I was about 7, 8, 9. So
How?
I don't know. I remember some of these moments. She would whisper. So my mom is, she's not like any type of crunchy granola person, but she's just had an awareness. She's very religious, born again Christian. And we grew up going to church a lot. So I went to Catholic school. but like her father was Muslim. So India, Bangladesh, Pakistani Muslim, married mulatto. So my grandmother's black, Texan, Southern Baptist. He was totally like, okay, we're not doing arranged marriages and shit because his mother was all that. My mother is not Muslim. And people are like, what? Like she had a Muslim father from India, and I said, nope. He was like, she's not doing it. Now he was very much proud Pakistani Muslim, but he's like, we're in America. You're an American. You will not have an accent. He was very proud. He joined the military here, went to war. But so my mom had, grew up in a very interesting environment where she could go to the Southern Baptist church, would go to mosque with him, and then raised us like we're all baptized different. Some of us are Lutheran and Catholic, it doesn't matter, we went to Catholic school. So I'd go to church like 3 times a week. And my who I call my so her father died. So my only grandfather I ever knew is Reverend Robert Rutland Jr., my man. So my grandfather growing up was a Baptist minister. So I would go to his church, and see them. I'd be in Catholic church there, my mom's church on the weekend where they would speak in tongues and all kinds of other things. I'm used to church being 8 hours long sometimes. So I've seen a lot of those kinds of things. And my mother has seen a lot of it too. And she just was new enough, not into conspiracy, but there would be these whisperings that they would talk about. So she was always talking about like the TV, like, I don't know how I feel about that, like in credit cards, like that was the mark of the beast to my mom. She's like, we're not doing that. My mother still to this day, I'm like, Mommy, can I please get you to the bank? I don't want that card. I'll drive to the bank. Thank you. She's like,
Yeah.
you can put them credit card numbers on people's foreheads one day. That's what the Bible says. So we had to read the Bible all the time. I, I read the Revelations more times than you. I had this shit memorized by the time I was probably 7. So she ain't wrong. I was
I
like,
mean,
I'm like, listen, right? So I'm like, you see it all happening today. So she kind of said something. I don't know what the conversation we were having, but I remember where we were. It was near the church too. About Stephanie, you gotta be quiet what you talk about. You can't tell people all this, but there are 12 families that are running everything all over this planet. But you better be real careful about who you talk to about this. Like, so she would let me know, listen, we know things, but you gotta be careful, right? And things are not what they seem. That's what she was like, things are not what they seem, and just watch it, kind of a thing. So I would hear little things, and then her friends would come over and like, it was the 70s and stuff, and kids they would have their grown up ass conversations. I was always listening. So I
yeah.
was listening when they didn't know I was listening to everything. So I would pick up all the stuff of them talking about all of that. It was very driven, by also scripture and all that. So, which to me is just a history book, to be honest. So that's where it kind of came from. And I will say, chiropractic, we're the original. I mean, we've been anti-vax forever. It's 100 years. I mean, that is the group that's been like, we call bullshit on everything you're saying. I mean, the American Medical Association was found in court guilty of conspiracy to destroy the entire profession. Found guilty, and yet nobody seems to, we're still called the quacks. So this whole profession, everybody's anti-vax at school. Everybody taught, I mean, this is what we're taught. We were taught all of it in school. We broke down all the vaccines, read all the inserts. They're very publicly, we're not ashamed to say, yeah, we're anti-vax. Of course we are. What kind of more, who isn't? Can you read? There's no studies. I mean, anybody who can read should be. Something's wrong with you if you're not. That's how I look. We're not the dumb ones. You know what I mean? So we're very postured, basically very confident about it. And when when you spend 4 years in grad school with everybody who thinks, I mean, we all go to the gym, we all work out, we all are anti-vax. We're all like we're not. That's built in on purpose to deprogram us from the world. So I'm very blessed where my whole subculture, hundreds of my friends all think the same way. So it's not weird. None of us were like, well, of course I wouldn't circumcise my kid. Why would you do that? Why would you mutilate a perfect baby? What? Of course we do home births. Why would you go to a hospital where they're going to ruin everything? I mean, it's just home births, no Tylenol. And then you're in school with kids who are like second and third generation. So none of them have been vaccinated. They were all born at home. They would say, "No, I've never had a Tylenol in my life. Never had a never." So you met people who were like, "I've never had a drug in my whole life. Never." Born in all my son, everybody was born at home. This is how we do it because my dad's a chiropractor. You see what I'm saying? So then you have a totally different. That's who you're around, and they change your whole construct. So it was pretty easy, actually.
I didn't know this about chiropractors. My experience of chiropractors, especially lately, has been that they're quite clinical. So how
Well,
is
the
it
new
that
ones are lame. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Like, let's
But
be honest.
if we talk about the new ones, 50 and up, how about we say that?
Okay, all right. So I need to find a more mature chiropractor, is what you're telling
Correct.
me.
It's,
Okay.
yes. Same
So
like with
why
the
is
physician,
it that this field specifically knows what the others don't?
because it was started by a bunch of renegade rebels. I mean, the homeopaths know it too, but
Yeah.
Rockefeller destroyed the homeopaths here.
Yes.
So they didn't destroy the chiropractors. So they really ruined homeopathy here. They won that battle. And the homeopaths, the osteopaths, the naturopaths, they sold out. They sold out and let themselves be swallowed by Rockefeller schools. We said, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fuck you energy. That's what we are.
Yeah.
I'm American. I'm a chiropractor. I'm black, white, and Indian. I mean, what? I don't know. I'm pretty much going to go against all the grain of all the things. And I'm from Detroit, and I grew up poor.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I was just literally cast in a mold. They go, let's just make this one contrary to everything, and gave me the structure to be really comfortable in it. Like, well, of course, we're opposite of you because that's how we do it. So I don't know. I mean, it's just the founders, D. D. Palmer and B.J. Palmer, that father and son, like they were strong and somehow did not get swallowed. Now, a lot of the schools today are falling for it. They want to become back pain specialists. They want their white jacket. They want to be a real doctor and write prescriptions for pain pills. Yeah. So
I
that
feel
is
like the
happening.
moment they
Kind
give
of
you
sad.
the right to write a prescription, that's the sellout. And I was seeing a naturopath for many years, and she would keep just giving me things in a bottle. And I'm like, surely there are things that I can change in my life that would
Yeah.
help. Like, what am I not doing? What am I missing? What should I be taking all of this stuff? And
Yeah.
when I looked into naturopathy, because I was like, oh, maybe I should get into naturopathy. The schools where you get to do all the other things were government funded.
Oh,
The community colleges where you can't write prescriptions, for instance, you can't dispense, the pharma grade stuff, they weren't backed by the government. I was like, isn't that interesting?
oh,
And it made me start thinking, I'm like, hang on a minute, then if I'm to study, and I met someone, I had a remedial massage therapist who did naturopathy, and she was studying while I was seeing her, and I saw her for many years. And when she finished, she started her own practice, and she's like, this is not what I thought I was getting into.
I know.
And all her studies, she's like, I can't do this. I can't be a naturopath in this environment. And I was just like, oh my God, you've just spent years studying.
Can't. I know. And I've had that happen to people too. And like osteopathy here is just ruined too. And you kind of sound like, I know it's awful, but just get the degree, get your license, and then we can help train you out here what to really do. Like I have a friend that I'm going to hire.
Retrain you,
Yeah,
untrain you.
they know it. So they're like, watch. They're like, girl, do you know this shit they're teaching me? I'm like, listen, just pass your test. You have to kind of say like, I know it's all wrong, right? She's like, it's ridiculous. I'm like, I know. I do hear pockets of good things happening occasionally from people from certain. They're like, oh my gosh, my professor said this and we taught that. I said, that's amazing. So you get these, rogue professors that are coming to kind of tell the truth. Now, how long they'll keep their jobs, I don't know. And that's hard to learn to be like, okay, well, here's the guideline, but actually do this. So when you take your boards, make sure you say this, but remember to do this. It's unfortunate. Yeah, they're still very symptom oriented and just use a supplement or something to move the marker. And again, supplements and molecules are needed. I'm not saying that you don't need them, but it's become more of a very outside in philosophy. Chiropractic is
Yeah.
inside out philosophy. We look at everything as it's vitalism. That's really all it is I'm a vitalist and they're mechanists. So there's just two philosophies. You're a vitalist, you're a mechanist. A vitalist believes that everything, that the answer to everything is already contained with you, and there is some higher order or source that's providing as well. There's something that created this, and that you are much bigger than the sum of your parts. You are not a machine. There's a spark of life, a something. Now we don't say spirit and soul or whatever, so it can embody any belief system out there possible, right? We try to keep it very neutral so everyone is welcome, but there is something bigger and better than you that's helping with some divine organization, let's say. And mechanistic is, you're the sum of your parts. We can just cut it out, change it, like a tire, like a car, and there's nothing else really magical there. So it's just a machine. And we're like, yeah, not really. That's not how we do it. So it's just very different ways of looking at it. So we're trying to look from the inside out to solve the problem, not the outside in, you know.
Mm. And you talk about peptides a lot, and this is something that I really don't understand. And I've wondered often if is this just the next craze? Is it legit? I mean, you've got a course on peptides, you take them yourself. Why is
Yeah.
it so important for us to understand what peptides are, or, what kind of supplements women especially should be taking? I was told recently every woman should be taking creatine. And I'm like, why? Can someone explain why? And then maybe I'll take it. Um, like, what do we need to know as women about peptides and supplements and things like that? And what should we be using day to day, or is it dependent on the individual?
Well, one, peptide therapy is incredibly potent, very real. It's been around for many decades. So the fact, again, by the time you heard about it,
I was
it's
going to say, yeah.
okay. So like, just because I tell me all the time, just because it's new to you doesn't mean it's new.
Yeah.
People still talking and obviously the why anybody's talking about it is because of the GLP-1s, right? So even like semaglutide, 20 years old, clinically used in hundreds of thousands of people for 20 years. That's not new.
Yeah.
Nothing's new about it. But the trademark name is new and commercials for it are new. That's the only new thing that's going on here. So you guys think, oh, this new drug. First of all, not a drug, and it's been around 20 years. Been used clinically all over the place. This is not even a controversial. It's incredibly safe.
Mm.
Like old. This is not new. Okay. So that's the thing. Just because you hear about it, like that ain't new. I like, they're just talking about this. Like this wasn't made 6 months ago. It's over 20 years. But again, things that the insurance company, pharma didn't know how to make money on it. Now they
Yeah.
figured it out after 20 some years what to do to manipulate it to put a trademark and screw everybody else. Now,
Yeah.
why are peptides important? So people do get sick. People do have problems. They don't let their soul drive. They don't listen to their symptoms. They don't listen to the gentle nudge. So they need a 2x4 up their head, and that's a diagnosis, a tumor, a problem. They need things when that happens. People go to war and their legs get blown off. We need drugs. We need surgery. We need things when really bad shit happens. Okay? Let's just tell the truth. Bad shit happens. We do need big bad things. We need big things for big things, right? That's you aren't going to sun gaze yourself out of an amputation. You're going to need some morphine. Okay? I mean, I would hope. Please give it all to me. You off my
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
I
Sun
mean,
gaze
I
your
don't
way out
know
of an
anything about
amputation.
it, right? Okay, made it better than cocaine. Okay, so in that model, though, therapeutic peptides extraordinarily powerful. They're not drugs; they are a signal molecule, and they don't just push the system up or push the system down. That's all a drug can do. There's no intelligence. A blood pressure drug will push blood pressure down to the point you black out. It has no way of regulating itself. None. That's not what peptides do. Why? Because we make peptides. Peptides are naturally found in nature. Humans make them, all mammals make them, plants make them. They are just mini amino acids, and mini proteins, little amino acids put together, smaller. This many pieces, we call it a peptide. This much, we call it a polypeptide. This big, we say it's a protein. It's nomenclature. It's not whatever. But, muscle is made of a bunch of amino acids. peptides, blah, 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 blah. So neurotransmitters are peptides. Hormones are peptides. We're making them all the time. The greatest, peptide factory is your brain. So you're
Mm.
making 1,000, peptides all the time. And if you didn't, you'd be living in utter chaos and you couldn't get anything done. It's peptides that tell everything to do everything. So you need that to happen. So using them, therapeutically when there's deficiencies of things is very, very smart. Most people don't get enough sun, don't get enough movement, don't get enough fresh air, don't get enough sleep, don't get enough sex, don't get enough hugs, don't get enough laughter. I mean, we are living in a deficiency of all of, they don't get enough zinc, they don't get enough, they don't get enough anything, you know, they don't get enough time to, they don't have vacation, they don't have enough laughter, creativity, pick a topic. There's a lot of deficiencies going on. Then you stack in the amount of toxicity. Woo! We live in
Yeah.
a poison soup now. We have never been this poisoned in all of history. My grandmother was not born with any microplastic in her body. Today's babies, loaded from the get go. There was no glyphosate in my grandma. Today's babies, they're loaded already. DDT, babies all have it. You understand? Very different.
Yes.
It's a completely different world. So, back then a man walked in the room and women got pregnant. Today, it takes 40 rounds of IVF,
Yeah.
$80,000, test tube babies, because no one can even get pregnant because we're so poisoned. So when you stack on the outrageous deficiencies that we have of community, laughter, hug, fun, that means there's no dopamine, there's no serotonin, there's no GABA, there's no acetylcholine. We can just go on and on. No touch, no oxytocin, no orgasms. I mean, it's ridiculous. Then you add toxic, all the poisons on top of it. How is the system supposed to function? It's very hard. So peptide, that we have a very chaotic, horrible environment. It's a very strong way to help move the dial, to help people recover themselves, have normal function again. They're short term. You don't have to stay on them a long time. They are not a supplement. They're things your body recognizes. Some peptides, like say GHK copper, you make GHK copper, you make GHK all the time. You put copper on it or don't put copper on it. It's a normal, you have to do that to make blood vessels. You have to do it to repair skin. You have to do it to make collagen. This is what you make. If you don't make enough of it, you're going to have some issues. So can we give some to you temporarily? Yes, for a while, to help you heal and regenerate pre or post surgery, get hair back after chemo or stress or death or anorexia, whatever. I mean, and that's going to act on 3,000 genes at the same time. Like it has these wild systemic upgrades to the system that you don't get from a drug. And there's no toxicity, there's no damage to a liver or a kidney, because the body knows what it is and it's like, oh, okay, I know what to do with this, and let me just handle it for a while. So it's a very different thing. So yes, it's very real. It's not a fad. We've been the functional doctors have been pounding it and trying to and wanting everybody to get on board with this. This has been a very concerted effort, and it's kind of like a 100th monkey moment. Like, okay, great. Now, what comes with that is all the shenanigans and people being surprised. I'm like, not new, and it is legit. Now people are trying to do things and sell things that they don't know what they're doing. That's dangerous. Incompetence and scam artists are dangerous. That doesn't mean peptides are dangerous, you know?
Mm.
So there's that. So women mostly need to learn to get back to nature and circadian biology. I'm going to say that's the most important thing. And then the next thing, coupled to me same time, is pleasure. So women seem to forget the greatest thing that we do is receive. And if you don't know how to do that, and if you can't have pleasure, I don't give a damn about what supplement you're taking, because everything starts there. And that's typically nervous system regulation more than anything. And so I'm going to use nature, circadian biology to deal with nervous system regulation and safety first. Will I use a molecule for that? Maybe, maybe I need to, but that's what we're doing. And women don't want to really hear that, because that does require changing behaviors, changing thinking, dealing with scripts, changing what they're doing. They're knowing themselves, figuring out their values, going, it's really okay that you don't work like 120 hours a week. Women will go to law school and be like, yeah, I don't want to do this at all. That whole partner shit, what they want me to do, not doing it. I want to make babies and be home and I'm done. And they feel guilty for realizing that. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you spent $300,000. Like, okay, but isn't it better you figured it out right now?
Yeah.
Isn't it better you figured it out? Go be happy. But they judge that or have value because now, oh, I thought I wanted to be this powerful baller because the TV told me. No, I just want to crock pot and go to the pool and go to the park and have the babies and do the fun things and be with my husband at night. You know what? That's fantastic. Go do it then. But we really struggle with that receipt. So my way I would do it is that, like, we're going to deal with circadian biology, those principles. It's a big return on investment. It's hard for women to believe. They don't like to pay money to be told about the sun and going to bed on time and movement and hugging and date nights. They're like, what? I'm like, yep. I know you wanted to hear a peptide for the.
Yeah.
You can make your own if you let your husband just give you about 5 orgasms. Isn't that better? I think that's more fun than injecting. I don't know what you tell me. What do you want? I could give you an oxytocin and a needle, or why don't you just go have some good sex? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I know. I prescribed that
It's
once.
like, off you go.
I told my husband, I was like, listen, can you just pleasure her every day and she doesn't have to do anything? He said, so I just give her orgasms. And I said, because she had cancer. I said, that's what I want. She's really burnt out. And they looked at me and he's like, I can do that, doc. I go, you can do that? And she was like, yeah. I said, okay. Now, if she wants to give to you, fine. But right now, and he goes, no, I understand. This will help her heal. Said, yeah. He goes, I'm on it. Every day, doc, I got you. I said, fantastic. I'm like,
Oh my God.
he just wants to, but see, often women need me to come in and tell, he just wants to please you. Let him. And they're like, what? I'm like, I want you to do nothing. Let him please you. Let him carry it. Let him do it. I want you to be taken care of. Because the women would have like 2, 3 kids still. Like, they're still, I'm like, stop doing all that. Let him do his job. Let him serve you. Let him please you. And in that, you're going to be exploding peptides that physically heal you like you just can't understand. So I think one of the most underutilized tools for women's health are orgasms, actually. Legit. And I've written whole things about it. It's in my book.
Well, let's talk about that then, because while you're speaking, all that's coming up for me is every conversation I have had with my girlfriends about how their partner doesn't step up, right? And so there's this whole...
Do they allow it to happen, or are they always emasculating him?
Well, it's going to depend on who you ask, I guess, and what they think emasculating means, because I'm thinking of all of the conversations I have with my girlfriends and their dating relationships. And I'm like, and a lot of them now I'm realizing it's all about them doing and not receiving.
Right.
And if it's just as simple as us receiving.
Right. Because they're masculinized. And
Hmm.
that's very repulsive to men. It's the magnets with the same poles repel. So a masculinized woman is not going to attract a masculinized man. It's going to repel. Right?
Yeah.
So if she's masculinized, then she's going to attract a more feminine male.
Yes.
So she can dominate and control, which is a very common thing with women who don't feel safe. So they'll pair up like this, so they have a child. So she feels good because she takes care of someone. Then that feels really good. She gets all this value. Oh, I'm so helpful, and now he needs me, and he likes it. She take care of me. I need mommy, Then she gets pregnant. Then all hell breaks loose because now she's resenting him. He doesn't step up. Well, but you didn't want him to. You picked him on purpose because he didn't step up. So don't get mad at him because you picked him to be like that. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on. And so because she didn't know, she didn't feel safe with softness, she didn't feel safe with receiving, she didn't know how to do that, she needed to wear the pants. This is very common here in America. I've seen this. Most of my friends who get divorced, this is what I see. And it's that dynamic. And I'm like, listen, no, he doesn't step up. You're right. But you partnered with that on purpose. That's the contract you both agreed to. Don't get mad because usually it's the woman who changes the rules, who's like, wakes up to her femininity, wakes
Yeah.
up to her softness. Being pregnant and becoming a mother is a very strong driver. It can happen other ways, but it's a radical shift in your hormones. It's a radical shift in the way you are. It's unbelievably different. It's unbelievable. So there's a shift. Your chemistry changed, you changed. Now you want to change the contract. And he's over here like, but I didn't sign that contract. Now, many people can renegotiate that contract and okay, we can have that contract where we have this harmonization of them again, and it's a real strong attraction, but not everybody can. And so sometimes they don't step up and he needs to go find another mommy, but she's like, I don't want
Yeah.
to, I am a mommy. I need to be the mommy. Ooh. But then she has to deal with herself and
Mm.
why she needed to do that. And can she feel safe allowing somebody that strong to contain her? It's not oppress, it's not submit, it's containment, which is like a warm hug of safety. You have to be okay with letting him do that and never undercutting, cock blocking, emasculating, cutting him off at the knees for that. No, you know. So I let men open and carry, do every damn thing for me because it's hard for them to even feel like they can give me anything, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like a moment of, I would love it in the office all the time. Like when something would break, I'm like, well, who's coming in? I'm like, oh, so and so. If a guy patient was coming in, oh, let him fix it. They went nothing more than to fix the printer for me. Like, don't worry, don't call anybody. He'll fix it. Just tell him. They're like, I said, no, really, trust me. And men would, patients of mine, they would light up because they could help me in some kind of mechanical dude way, you know? And my staff would say, I go, it's not, I go, it makes them feel good, actually. I go, of course we could have called somebody else, but even though they pay you money, they really want to do more than that. They're like, I can't thank you enough for what you've done. I'm like, actually, I might literally have had them. Can you talk to the AT&T guy? Because they're like, yeah, listen, you will give her a better deal. For me. They're like, anytime Dr. Rimka, somebody messes with you, I'll call. I'm like, thank you so much. So I don't have to
Oh
do it
my.
all the time. So I let
I
men
feel
be men.
flustered at this idea.
Men be men. I'm like, you're supposed to carry shit, knock people down, carry my stuff, and hurt people. That's your job. I let them do it. And it's not that I can't. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
attract those type of men around me. When women say that, I go, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you know how men are. I'm like, yeah, they're fabulous. What are you talking about? Because I just only attract all these alphas. That's all that I know, really. And they're the kindest, most understated, subtle, quiet kind of. I mean, they have a physical presence and energetic about them. And I'm not dating any of them. It's not even like that. They're other people's husbands. It doesn't matter. But I'm very safe around them. They protect. It's unspoken. I wouldn't even have to. They're always looking to protect the women. And it's not from condescension. It's not like that. It's not because we're weak. That's not what it is. It's out of respect. It's out of honor. They honor the feminine so deeply. They know that's what they're supposed to do. You protect the children, I protect you. Like this is, we take care of each other. You're the source of, you hear God better than I do. So you listen to that. You tell me what to do and I obey. Men obey the feminine. That's where we've gotten it all wrong.
So then, I mean, to me, it's all the propaganda and marketing and all the by design to separate us and make us and ensure that we don't know who we really are. So I would love to hear your perspective on like how we got here. Because the feminist movement, I call myself an anti-feminist because I'm so repulsed by the current feminist movement.
Yeah.
Because this is all that it is. It's
Yeah.
cutting them down.
The con of, we all have to have career. What did it lead to? I'm born in the 70s. Everybody is a single mom. It's like everybody was divorced. Everybody was an 80s latchkey kid. Um, so yeah, we're Gen X. We don't have parents, or we can do everything ourselves. Like, well, we were like 50 when we were 10, and now at 50 we're kind of like we're 10. We're like, I don't know. literally a friend of mine, she's messages, can you believe we're 52? I'm like, girl, I still feel 17. I'm like, how are we not
Yeah.
17? I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna be a grandmother? What? Weren't we just at like a house party getting arrested? Drunk? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, what are you talking about? Wasn't that like I don't know, last year? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel I don't feel 52. Like we graduated how long ago? You know? And they all say the same thing because we've kind of always been alone, and it's led to this hyper independence, this and it's all a con to get women to go to work, and so they could tax everybody. So we need more taxes. So let's ruin everything. Let's ruin marriages. Let's ruin relationships. Let's so we can get them to work, and like that's the sign that you're a bad bitch. That you can work 80 hours a week and put your kids in daycare. Ooh, yay, bad bitch. What a great life. I
It is
watched my mom work 80
exhausting.
hours a week. It was awful. She didn't want to do that, you know? I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like it's been a very, there's so much psychology and concerted efforts that have gone into all of this. So it's okay we were all susceptible to it. I don't blame myself that I fell for a lot of it myself. I'm like, okay, well, these are mass propaganda tools. This is mass cultural stuff. We've swung some really extreme ways, and you watch some of the real extreme behavior. Nobody wants to even have kids anymore. They're doing like a really big campaign, like you know having children's bad, and everybody should just be single and super rich and go on vacation all the time. And listen, I mean, whatever. I'm very aware of population control. I mean, they've been doing many ways of getting people not to be able to make babies. And that's just another one. It's just a psychological war of it. And it's unfortunate because it's made women, it's burnt them out, it's drained them. It's why we have more illnesses, more autoimmune diagnosis, more just all the things, because we are not men. And the world is masculine. The schedule is masculine. Calendars, that's masculine. Being on appointments on time, masculine. That's a 24-hour cycle of testosterone. They're very stable and neutral. We are not. We are four different women in the month based on the week of menses. And like it's a striking difference in cognition, performance. I mean, flexibility and motor control are radically different. We know this. This is all tested. So, from that all those decades where you're ovulating, it's an incredible symphony of hormones, and hormones are driving behaviors, moods, muscle strength, everything, how you sleep, foods you crave. So you shouldn't be the same. Men are like the same. It's at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 30th or the 22nd or the 14th. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're not. And we've taken that on like it's a bad thing. So we've shamed ourselves. We've done it. We've let it happen. There's been big systems in there, but I'm trying to go with the reclamation of that. Like, no, 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 baby, be extra. We are. That's what makes us special. Women we amplify, we magnify, we do something nothing else in the world does. We take this and turn it into everything. The masculine energy does not do that. Feminine magnifies and multiplies. It makes something small much bigger. That is what feminine energy does. And that's its greatest asset. And we've taken that as if and we've tried to diminish it by acting like men. I can show up in the boardroom the same way. I'm not saying we're not supposed to be in the board. I own companies, and like I'm not saying we shouldn't work and do, I'm just saying there's a way to do it where it has more flow, it has more receiving, it has more divine voice to it. We're listening, to our right hemispheres more. We're letting, letting the feminine come in, and we're not trying to pretend to be someone else. We're not trying to pretend to fit into that model of the way they do it. I'm like, that's great. So I'm in a lot of business training with men, and they'll say how they tackle. And I say, listen, I respect that. I'm going to remind you, you're a man. I'm going to talk, and I bring in neurology. I talk about the left hemisphere. I talk about testosterone. Then I talk about women. So when I tell the women, listen, that's worked well for him. If you're trying to do that, you will probably not be as successful as him and as happy as him. So, you know what I mean? So like, let's go with it this way. Try something different. Because when people do it, they're like, you don't feel it. They're like, no, it's horrible. That sounds awful. So the men think they're inspiring the women. They want to, I'm like, bro, I need to tone your language down because that doesn't work for her. That doesn't work for us, And they're like, yeah, that's right. My wife, when they see this, men could like, my wife can't go to the workout like me, can't fast like me, can't do, yeah, she doesn't come like you either, does she? Nope. Exactly. See how much longer it takes for her and all the extras you got to do and how slow everything needs to be. Not the same. We're
Yeah.
slow. You're fast. We go all over and circular. I've had so many women say, "Oh, I have ADHD." I'm like, "Is it ADHD or are you just a woman?" Like, but you've diagnosed something. We've pathologized femininity. We've pathologized the way we think. We pathologized the very nature of the feminine driver is spontaneity, impulsivity. It's what we do. That's where the magic is. So if you're
Mm.
trying to suppress that with cocaine and methamphetamines your whole life, how can you be your most divine self? It's horrible. It's horrible. It's been a big con. I fell for it. I get it. And I'm not saying I have it all figured out. It was just about from 45, 46 to 50 was a very conscious, deeper dive into it for me, right? And really expanding it and working on. And the 3 years before turning 50, you just turn 40. Wait till you turn 50. So that 50 is I've talked to a lot of women about it. I go, is there like a biological switch? I mean, is something happen in the DNA? Because it is such a radical physical feeling at 50. Everything is better. I can't fully explain it, but
Oh, I
it's
believe you though.
it's like it's like better. Like, girl, this is like the best time of my life. I'm like, right. I'm like, woo! I'm like, shit, we got money. We know how to feel everything. We know what we want. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's
Like,
basically 40. I was like, something switched on, and I'm like, oh no.
it's really weird. I was stunned with this. I'm like, and I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh my God, that's old. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to work on this. I got to reframe this because 50 felt like, ooh, that's I'm done. Like I'm done. And like it really like who wants a 50-year-old woman? You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah, but
market.
look at you, first of all.
I'm just telling you, the marketing, the mindset. Like even I had to like keep telling
Yeah.
myself like who's gonna want me? Look at the 30-year-old. I mean, look at her. Yeah, I can't compete with that. I mean, there's not. I mean, I have stretch marks and skin and boobs and breasts. I was pregnant. Like it's not. It doesn't look like that anymore. She won't look like that either after being pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to change. But you know what I mean. So I had to. I'm not saying it's easy, but I really went. That was a very devoted time. 3.5 very focused years of basically dating myself, nurturing myself very consciously, saying I'm actively going to treat myself with so much care, so much love. I was falling in love with myself. I was courting myself with so much pleasure and sensuality and trying just new things. Like I never would used to paint my nails. All kinds of new shit. I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe I like it. I mean, new different clothes and heels and dresses. I was like, why am I buying all this stuff? So I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna see what let me try with these kind of candles. I was just started making everything sensuous and pleasurable. I wanted the bathroom, the counter, my purse, the way I ate. I'm like, we're gonna make everything sexy. Like it's not utilitarian anymore. Like my son's old. Like I don't need to be like, oh, we're making like no, we're gonna make it sexy. This is grown folk shit now. Like this isn't romper room. I mean, it could be, but like we're gonna make it. It's so I was pleasing myself constantly. What do you like? What do you want? What would make you happy? What would bring pleasure to you? Is it a cashmere sweater? Like, why would I buy the thing? I'm like, oh damn, this feels good. Like, what if I bought clothes based on how they feel instead of how they looked? Like, what if
Yeah.
started doing that. I went shopping for that. I'm like, oh, what if I bought something that looked like that I would never normally wear? I'm like, let me just try it. And I'm like, okay, I would never put this on before, but damn, I look good. Like it took radical. I'm going to do things that I don't identify as. I didn't like them all. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like that. Just trying all new things. Tried ballroom dance lesson, try pottery classes. It was a lot of that. Do the things you never give yourself permission to do before and see what you really like. So I think, and that's what I kind of teach women to kind of do in a lot of my courses now. I went through the process myself and I'm still in the process, obviously. Um, so I think that's where I think pleasure, I think women put themselves on the back burner so much because they think they're supposed to be the doer. You're not the doer, you are the receiver. Um, it doesn't mean you aren't caring for people and nurturing, of course, but we have really not allowed the masculine to give. The masculine is the giver. And if women are thinking they always are, now you've just taken away his greatest gift and you never receive. And now he's just feeling like after a while, well, I guess I won't give it. If you don't want it, so I'll stop doing it, you know? And that's what we've done to ourselves. It's internal and external, right?
How do you then, because you were talking about how in your life it changed for you like around 45, and I don't know if something happened that made you realize, hey, I don't know that I love myself enough and I want to give to myself more. But when you make that change in your life, there are people who are in your life at that time that are used to you being a certain way, right? And so how did you manage, or have conversations with the people in your life to be like, from now on it's about me and me making everything in my life sexy, and I've who I am has changed?
I didn't have any, I didn't do any of that.
Oh, you just changed. You're like, this is it. This is the new Dr. Rimka.
It was just a process. I mean, energy, energy does it for you. I shouldn't, if I have to say it out loud, clearly I'm not embodying it.
Yeah.
So I don't need to say anything. Everybody liked it. The feedback I would get, people say, I don't know what's happening with you, but it's different. And whatever this is you got going on, we like it. So I would just hear it. Like, I just came more home. I just came more
Yeah.
into myself. I became safer. I was like, I'm going to make myself safer and safer and safer. So I have had a lifelong battle of loving myself. So I came into the world thinking my very conception destroyed my family. So I was always teetering with, should I kill myself? Because I shouldn't be here. Because I must be such a bad person. My father robbed a bank. My mother was pregnant with me. So the story I made up in my mind was my mom was on the pill, and that's the truth. So I was an unwanted accident mistake. And if she hadn't gotten pregnant, he wouldn't have felt financial stress and robbed a bank and went to prison for his whole life. That's what I carried my whole life. I didn't talk about it. They didn't know this is what I was thinking. And it was in this house. I remember, so I probably was 40, 41 or something. My mom called and was like, hang on, I just talked to your brother. And he said about something. I said, uh-huh. Do you think your father robbed the bank because we needed money? Because we were worried about because I was pregnant? Yeah. Why would you think that? I'm like, that's what we all thought. That's the story. That was a better story for us to make up about our dad. But the story then for me was I ruined their life.
Oof.
They had daddy at home. I ruined their life before I was even born. So if something must be so bad about me, maybe like I shouldn't be here. So it was either I'm going to go, or then the flip is I have to prove, fuck that. Then I better be worth it. You know what I mean? I'll fix this. I'll show you. I'll make it right. So that's what I took on. Like, mommy, I got this. I'll buy you everything one day. I'll fucking take care of this. I'll get us out of the ghetto. I'll get us off food stamps, and I'll get daddy out of prison. Watch.
Hmm.
That's what I took on. So that's what drove me, was overcoming being a mistake, not deserving to be here, get in the shame my mom would feel about my dad being in prison, right? Now, again, then she told me another story. We won't get into that. She's like, that is not true. And oh God, let me tell you the truth. My father a little bit. She's like, I don't want to talk bad. I always wanted you children to love him. I'm like, and we did. We idolized our dad. My mother was so good at not making him sound bad. We idolized our father, and he was in prison. Like that's a hell of a feat. Okay. So there's that. So like, but I've been working on this my whole life. I've been working on learning to love myself, learning to accept who I was. And it just got better and better and better. Like when I realized, but it's, my teenage years, it's like how much I hated myself. So yeah, I was very active. I started doing Tony Robbins seminars and Landmark and Est Forum and interpersonal growth in my early 20s. Like I was very intense. And in the meantime, before that, when I was a child, I mean, I was always talking to the teachers, the priests. I was going to confession all the time. I wrote a lot of poetry. I would write a lot of poetry about the pain of things and stuff like that. And art. And I used to draw and paint a lot. That was kind of some of the ways I would get stuff out. And I use sports and aggression to have my violence. I could have a safe outlet where I could destroy people and hurt them on purpose and not get in trouble for it. I break your leg on the field, I'm not in trouble for it. I mean, that's facts. That was the
Yeah.
way I could take those two parts of me that were just the pain and the softness that nobody knew about, like how much self-hatred there was, and that rage of it, and that confusion that I was in. I don't have that confusion, but it was decades of it. And so it's been decades and decades of me learning to treat myself kindly, to talk to myself gently, to love myself. This is why I'm so good, I think, with people who are suicidal, why I'm so good with people with mental illness, why I understand it. I saw it in my family. I saw it in myself. I didn't look in mirrors. I avoided mirrors for it was a big moment. I don't know, 32 or 33, when I saw myself in a photo shoot. I'd been modeling since 7th or 8th grade. I thought I was repugnant. I thought it was so physically ugly. I brought so much shame to the family. I really used to think about it all the time. Like, it was hard. It was very hard growing up like that. And I saw myself, like, because back when I used to model, it was all photographs. You couldn't see anything. So this was a digital photo shoot. My son was already born. I was like 3. I was still breastfeeding. She's like, do you want to do a photo? I go, you want me to model? I'm like, I'm old and I'm fat. And she's like, girl, shut up. I'm like, sure, I'll show up, whatever. And the other girls were like 19. Not kidding. I was the only one over 21 because they're champagne. They go, it's the only one I can drink is Dr. Rimka. I was like, don't call me that. First of all, I go, what are you? We're doing makeup. And I go, are you 19? They go, yeah. I went, I looked at my stylist. I'm Jessica. What? She's like, girl, you're gorgeous. Just shut up. I said, okay, whatever. I'm like, you needed the old model? She goes, shut up. Yes, actually, but shut up. So, and the lights and all the things. And she goes, come here. And so this is the first time it was a laptop. I hadn't modeled in a long time. And she goes, look. And I remember looking at the Mac and she goes, do you see what you look like? I went, that's me? And they go, that's no Photoshop. That's nothing. I went, what the fuck? I mean, I literally went, that's what I look like? And she goes, I told you, everybody in this room wants to fuck you right now. Do you not understand? I was like, Jessica. She's like, seriously, everybody does. I went, but I'm telling you, I had this moment. Oh my God. And even though I'd heard people say, you're beautiful, you have gorgeous eyes, and it didn't matter. I always thought I was so hideous from what I saw, like this ogre, basically, that was just bad. And it was a stunning moment for me. And everything just went, oh my God. Like, and I had moments where I felt kind of okay. It literally just dissolved so many things. And I went, okay. And from that moment on, I could simply say, thank you. And oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I never said, oh no, I'm this or I'm that. Oh, my student. I didn't do any of that anymore. It was like, thank you. And they go on. I'm like, well, you can thank my mom and dad. They're good looking. Got my eyes from my dad. You know what I mean? Whatever. Well, my smile from my mom. I just got lucky. I would just say I could just literally receive from that moment on when someone made some comment about my physicality. And I had a lot of shame around modeling. I hated modeling. I thought it was disgusting. I felt like a whore the whole time. I hated it. And now I love it, So like I'm very good at taking something that brought me a lot of shame and then turning that pain into something useful. So like, I'm working on this. I've photo shoot, a whole retreat for women. I'm like, we're gonna center it around photo shoots. We're gonna camera, makeup, lights. It. When a woman, like when you really get done up, you get that much attention, and then we show them what they look like, how gorgeous we let it really come out, their own luminosity. Like we're gonna show you who you really are. And the camera can do it so well. And I work with some photographers and makeup artists and hairstylists that they get it. They're women that understand how to take a woman who feels not beautiful, not special, isn't in love with herself. And we'll do a whole retreat and exercises and things and trauma healing and dealing with stuff. And then like the denouement is about this photo shoot. And then she gets to see what she really goes. That's what we all see. You finally see it. That was the moment she was, that's what we see. And I went, oh, I'm good looking. And she goes, yeah.
Yeah.
I went, oh, now things make more sense. I mean, but I literally didn't get it. And I literally have men date me. They're like, you're cute. You don't even know how cute you. They go, this is real cute about you. What's great about her? She has no idea what she looks like. And I'm like, then that's what's great. So she's not a bitch. Because you don't know what you look like. It's unbelievable. I'm like, stop. They're like, baby, we love that about you actually. But it's kind of sometimes you need to put down the ugly stick that you beat yourself with a little bit. So I was really too hard on myself, very critical, judgmental, never enough. No, that was ambition that drove me, that got me where I needed to go. So I worked on all of it, right? How to balance it, kindness, and doing it to myself was essential, because as soon as I really understood, I can't really be kind to other people. I can't be non-judgmental. I can't really give to others if I can't do that to myself. It does start here. And I'm very out of integrity. That's very inauthentic. So I had to come to terms with who I was, who my soul was. And once I got rid of that script that a little girl made up, that she was a mistake, that she's bad, she ruined everything. That was a big thing to deal with. And then everything kind of was like, oh, my bad. Oops. Like, okay, it
Yeah.
happens. I understand it with why people do it. So we make up a lot of stories. I'm good at making up stories. So now I just make up other stories. I'm very good at making up stories. I make up really good stories now. I just make everything sound like it's in the best interest for me. And you're like, oh, well, I'm sure there's a good reason for that, or whatever. And people make, oh, well, I'm like, I think you should just make up better stories. If you make up different stories, you'll feel different all the time. So I try to do that.
I love that. And everything that you just said epitomizes for me what the journey to womanhood is. Like it
Mm.
really just everything you're saying, I'm like, yep, I'm getting, yep, I was thinking that like the other last year and all this stuff. And so I talk about the my breakdown of 2021 when I really realized I have no idea who I am as a woman. I have no idea what makes me happy. I have no idea what brings me joy. I don't even know if I'm happy right now. And so I had to ask myself, what do I even love about being a woman? And so I would love to know what you love about being the woman that you are today.
Stuff like I've said it so many. I'm like, God, I love being a woman. There's that song, I think Queen Herbie or whatever. It's like the power of a woman, or I love him. Like, it's so true. I would sing that song. I'm like, yes. God, we're so magical. And I think I have this interesting perspective because I date men and women. So I've been in love with women. I've made love to women. And God, they smell good. They're so soft. They're like so pretty, like, oh my God, you know. And then I am one, right? And so when I've been with men who I'm like, oh, it's like a whole like it's ridiculous. I think the best thing, God, it's a tough one. I mean, just feminine nature, just this. It really is the softness. It really is. It is the extra of us. It's that we have such a complex hormonal panel. It's like that we're not static. The masculine is really pretty static. Stability. It's stable. He's the bank and I'm the torrent river. I am the flowing wild everything. I can be a gentle stream. I can be a motherfucking monsoon. I like
Yeah.
that I can do all that. That's what the feminine is. What do you want? You want an iceberg or you want a thunderstorm? Which one you want in right now? Because I could bring any of it. I could be soft. I can be, like I really, really like that. And I have to say, I do feel bad for men. Probably if I have to talk about the physicality of it, well, so there's that. I like how intuitive and empathic we are, how connected we are, how much we feel, like I think there's that. I loved becoming a mother. Being pregnant was awful. It was a horrible experience. It's very hard for me, but that's what really burst me open into so much of my softness and my femininity, my nerd, like just the total acceptance of, I don't give a shit. Like I gained 80 pounds. I don't care. Like this, I made a baby, it's like, this is the greatest thing ever. So I like that. And if just in the physical 3D world, I like that we can rack and stack 10, 12, 15 orgasms back to back without a hesitation. A man can't even, I like that I can do that. I love the clitoris.
That's a first on this show, and I get it.
Have an organ that just makes you come.
Yeah.
What? A whole organ that literally just gives you orgasms.
Yeah.
They don't have that. We have that for a reason.
Mm.
And you don't have to do anything but have pleasure and you feel good. And then it heals you. What?
Yeah.
How is that so fantastic?
And how is it that not every one of us is talking about that being fantastic?
I know.
Yeah.
Quick
So
smile
much
to
shame
nerve
around that for
and
so many women.
pleasure. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Because we've been shamed around it and not supposed to talk about it. And I've been told on some podcasts, like, can you just not talk about orgasms? I'm like, the Christians freaked out because I talked about, I'm like, it's biology. It's like me talking about a penis and a vagina. I can't do that. And some people are like, no. I'm like, oh.
Oh, that's sad.
I just kind of talk that way, you guys. Like, I literally just, like, why wouldn't you want to talk about honey and chocolate and orgasms? Doesn't that sound better than spreadsheets and data? Who wants to talk about that?
Not me,
Not
that's
me.
for sure.
Not me.
Oh, Dr. Rimka, I could literally talk to you for hours on end. You are such a light. I adore you. My face hurts because I've been smiling so hard the last 90 minutes. Thank you so much for this
I
chat.
You're welcome. Let me just say this one thing. I thought you said
Of
something really
course.
interesting, like everything I said, or things I've talked about the journey of being a woman. And I'm going to think about that. It's really interesting because I'm like, yeah, and gosh, I so wish, I hope for our daughters and the young ones right now, we can take away some of parts of the journey because some of the pain that I've gone through, I don't want anybody to go through. Like, ugh, I hope you don't have to hate yourself. Like, I don't think hating yourself needs to become a part of anybody's journey. You know what I mean? So, like, can we ixnay that part of that whole process?
Yeah.
Right? And I see so much beauty in some of the young, the young, whatever the Gen Y, Z, X, Y, ABC, whatever we're supposed to call them right now, that are really diving more into, like, they're rejecting alcohol, they're rejecting, men and women rejecting porn. They're like, you know what, I think we should get a farm and some cows and just make babies. I'm like, whatever's
Yes.
going on in the ether, I'm
I
here
like
for
it.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a really I think there's a spark of that that's coming back where these young women are allowing themselves to be like, I'm not, like they're allowing their softness. And I think it's really beautiful. I'm studying some of them. Like, I'm like, look at these young, beautiful, they're solid in who they are. And they're not in anger, they're not in pushback. Like, you can be whatever you want, but I want to go milk some cows and be on a farm, frolic with goats. So I do think there's hope in that. I just wanted to say that, like, I don't want to set the I don't think pain needs to be part of our journey. You know, even though us at our age, it's been a part of it for a lot of us to become a woman. Pain's a part of life. Things are going to happen, but I don't want to think that is required to come into your power of who you really are.
Oh, please make it go away. Please work on that. Because if you can do that for the women that are listening, the women that are going to be listening to this in a year's time, because I think that, the journey to womanhood, a lot of us don't find ourselves till later on, or the ones that at least grew up in my time. I was born in 1984, and I feel like a lot of the times we had to push our way through. I've had boxing gloves on my whole life. I came from war, like the country I was born in, with, like, we fled the Civil War. So for me, it was like protect, fight, and hide my
Yeah.
whole life. And so I'm like, my journey to womanhood, it's different for everybody, but it was always that. And so unraveling that for myself, and I hear you unraveling that in your own way for yourself. And I know the women that are listening, most of the women are between 35 and 44. And so we're unraveling all of this together. And, I hope whatever you do in the future, and I'm really looking forward to your book. We didn't get a chance to talk about the book, but we'll have you back on so we can talk about the book when you finish
Yeah.
it.
Well, just editing. It's just editing right now. When it's for sale, I'm hoping to be done in a couple months. A couple months.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that coming out.
The
I know
key
it's
for
meant a lot
you
to you.
is safety. It's just nervous
Yes.
system safety. I
Yeah.
think maybe that is part of the big key. What a woman must be safe first. And that is
Yeah.
really, most women are walking almost, I mean, the number one fear for women is they're not safe, always. And
Yeah.
that's what the masculine does, is containment is safety. So I think we've, talked for hours to get down to, it's that simple. Just like you can't orgasm until the prefrontal cortex shuts off. There's the anterior lateral medial aspect. It must shut off, or you never can have an orgasm. So you have to
Wow.
be in such a deep state of safety that the alert signals go off. The male brain doesn't have to do that. The female brain does. So there's a lot of neurology, and it does settle around safety. So what I said, what women need, they need their nervous systems regulated before they need anything done. Circadian, nature, nervous system regulation. Pleasure becomes a part of that. Pleasure doesn't mean sex. Pleasure is all kinds of things. Okay. So sex is a part of that category. Um, so we have to establish, you can't go often from here to there, right? We have to do the things to get there. Cause I know a lot of the safety issues are sexual traumas, So, um, yeah, it's safety. And you just said it so beautifully from your own experience. Yeah. And my
I feel like
stories
we
is,
need a whole episode on
yeah, we could do it
orgasms
all.
now.
Yeah.
I'm like, no one talks about this. We need to talk about this. So please tell the listeners where they can find you, how they can work with you.
Website, best place really, drrimka.com, and that'll take you to my social media. That'll take you to how to apply for services. We do one-on-one care. We do trauma releasing exercises virtually. So I do TRE, I do neurofeedback, other brain therapies. All of that's there. Information, my courses, my online courses are there. And again, it'll get you to my social media. I spend most of my time on Instagram, as far as social media platforms, but the website holds everything that you can get to and see. How to get a hold of me, how to talk. And my subscription, I do a subscription, kind of a VIP club that we meet once a week. That's a nice way to access me. That's really affordable for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love all of that. Okay, so if you are interested in connecting with Dr. Rimka, I will include in the episode description and across socials links and ways you can do that. So if you haven't already, head on over to Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Follow the Skin I'm In podcast to be the first to know when new episodes drop. Dr. Rimka, thank you so much for being a guest on the Skin I'm In podcast.
Well, thank you for doing it. Thank you for helping women.
Dr. Rimka is the woman I have longed to look up to my whole life. Her wisdom, her presence, her unshakable knowing. She didn't just speak to me, Chanel, who creates this podcast for you guys every week. It's like she spoke to my soul today, both on the show and off it. She reminded me, encouraged me even, and in the most gentle yet undeniable way, nudged me toward the truth I had buried beneath duty, doubt, and a quiet longing I have kept hidden for fear of being seen as wanting more than I actually deserve. When we jumped out of the studio, I heard my higher self say, "Will you listen now? Will you finally answer the call of your own heart? The one that has whispered through the stillness, the ache, the quiet knowing that there is more waiting for you?" I honestly felt the my guides, I guess, ask me, like, will you dare to choose yourself without selfishness, but out of a sacred devotion to the extraordinary human being that you are? Will you let the guilt that clings on to your worthiness, the idea that you deserve softness, reverence, and to be cherished not just by others, but by yourself, will you allow this for yourself? My brain is just like ding, 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 ding right now when I think about all the things that I have starved myself of. So, to all the women listening right now, I just want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what would change if you said yes to yourself, not just once, but over and over again as a sacred daily practice, as a way of being? If you release the weight of should and embrace the rhythm of your own desires, where would life take you? If you stopped waiting for permission, if you crowned yourself sovereign in your own life, what would you create? And what parts of yourself have you silenced to keep others comfortable? And are you willing to finally hear your own voice? I think one of the things that I really feel deeply right now, that I feel really called to say right now, is where in your life have you mistaken sacrifice for love? And what would love look like if it included you? Like, what would happen if you just trusted your intuition as deeply as you trust the expectations that are placed upon you? Like, if you really fully believed without hesitation that you were worthy of beauty, joy, and ease, how would you move through the world? Think about it. And let me know in the comments what you come up with, because as of today, I sure as hell have no answer as to why I didn't know this, why I haven't embodied this, and why I have spent my life keeping myself so small, tolerable, and agreeable to whatever low level crap I've been given, and acting like I don't deserve it when my soul knows otherwise. And you know what? So does yours. With gratitude and grace, have a wonderful day.